It's beautiful out here right now.
It is. It's perfect.
Mina did some glamour shots earlier. We're going to go do something together later.
She did.
Absolutely beautiful.
Shout out, Phil.
By the way, Mina had the tissue to the eye. She's got some sniffles. She's not actually crying.
My girl got them allergies. I got her, though.
Just waiting for the Nicky Manwari injury update.
We're getting to that. But first, we're going to go to Jeff Darlington, and then we will ask him everything we need to know about Nick Manwari. What is the latest there, Jeff, on the ankle injury for such a key defender for this Seahawks defense?
Well, there is no need to cry, Mina. I've got great news for you. Nick Manwari is going to be okay. Mike McDonald actually said in his press conference that Manwari actually should play in Sunday's game. They are fully expecting him to play in that game. He does anticipate being overcautious in the coming days in practice after Manwari did roll his ankle in practice. He had to be helped off the practice field. It was a scary moment for the Seahawks, but Manwari did tell me that he got imaging on that ankle and that it did not reveal anything of a high ankle sprain. So very good news there. We should point out that Manwari actually did miss 3 games earlier this season after suffering a high ankle sprain in week 1. He said it is the same ankle, but it is not nearly as bad. Also, context into how good of a player he is. This is the kind of guy that has been compared to Kyle Hamilton, who Mike McDonald coached in Baltimore. He is used all over the field. So even though he is a rookie, he is incredibly important to this Ravens team. So great news there. One last update for you. Sam Darnold was limited in practice with an oblique issue, but again, also being cautious. He is full go and will start in Sunday's game, Laura.
You see Darnold there with Drew Lock as well as Jalen Milroe on the other side. Thanks to Jeff Darlington, the latest on the Seahawks throughout the week. And Jeff mentioned the importance of Manwari. Let's go into that a little bit in more detail. During the regular season, no team played a cover 2 defense more often than the Seahawks. And Drake Maye struggled against a cover 2, throwing 2 touchdowns against 3 picks and ranking 21st in QBR against cover 2. He was sacked on nearly 10% of dropbacks, by the way, when opponents play cover 2. So, Mina, before we get into the specifics of the injury and this defense and all of that, even though it does sound like, of course, that Manwari is going to play, they may be cautious. Just how important is he to what Seattle wants to do?
I think he's really important because of what you saw there, which is the split safety structure. So first of all, Jeff hit on it, the versatility. He plays in the box. He's in the slot. He's a blitzer. I talked to Fred. He mentioned Kyle Hamilton as a comp. I talked to Fred Warner earlier, and he gave me 2 comps. Derwin James and Avatar, like an avatar. So I thought that was a good comp for Manwari. But I would say this, his run defense is, I think, where he would be missed the most because his presence is what allows Seattle to defend the run at such a high level from those split safety structures without putting an extra linebacker. He is basically a hybrid DB linebacker, but his presence on the field is what allows them to make it feel like you have so many bodies in coverage, but you're still stout against the run. So I think it would be massive for Seattle if he doesn't play. Sounds like he's going to, though.
Yeah, when Seattle plays their cover 2, I think a couple things that stand out from tape of why they're good at it. Number one, they're very physical at the corner position on the outside, so the timing is often disrupted. 2, the safeties do a great job of understanding route concepts, playing their deep half, of playing with vision underneath. I think also those second-level defenders are a big-time thing. They'll change their fronts. Like, look how wide those defensive tackles are. So you create a little bit of chaos from a rush perspective, but it's tied to the coverage with 7 people in coverage. So Witherspoon's playing your nickel. Manwari's playing the backside, quote, linebacker position. There's 6 DBs on the field. And the big thing is that's that vision that I'm talking about with those safeties who have the deep half. But those underneath defenders, they're not spot dropping often. They're still playing that cover 2 zone while also having a feel for route concepts. And so, like we often talk about on the show, like match. It's not match, and it's not like true zone to me, in my opinion. Like, I think they have a good understanding of this is my area, but this is the route you're trying to run. And Manwari kind of playing that linebacker role there is a massive deal on early downs.
Well, I also think we have to be clear with people that when we talk about 2 high safety defenses, it isn't always just cover 2, right? It's quarter halves. It's poach, right? You saw poach there where the backside safety was pushing to number 3 because it was a 3-by-1 formation and you had the corner locked on the backside. And so I believe that's what Drake Maye is going to have to deal with more so, not just recognizing that it's split safety, but what sort of split safety defense is it, right? Which side is playing what? How will the underneath defenders be matching? And I believe that's where he struggled, because go back to the second half of the second Bills game, and now there was a lot of pressure 100%. In that game, but he always had to figure it out after the football was snapped. And to me, as many times as the Seattle Seahawks can make Drake Maye do that, figure out what the defense is, the better chance they have of putting pressure on it.
Yeah, I had to go all the way back to college days when I was a part of drops, and teams would try to flood areas when we were in cover 2, try to give you a levels concept to make that in-between backer in the middle of the field determine if I'm coming down or staying high. And I remember feeling like I'm in a terrible situation if they get these backs underneath and I got to tackle guys in open space. So I look at guys with Travion Henderson. You think about getting even just if you get a slot area in a slot player in that area with Hunter Henry as well, you're making them make a determination. But to RC's point, I think that's going to be the most critical thing. What are they in? Because when you find cover 2, there's always areas to attack.
Right. What version?
Yeah, what version of it? If the seam is open and the corner is staying low, taking the flat, you have to be accurate and on time to be able to put that there before the safety get there. And the great ones put it there on wide receiver so they can make a move on the safety and maybe get some runs after catch. I'll be interested to see how Josh McDaniels attack this, but I think it'll be some concept of levels against Seattle just to make them determine how do they want to come up and play it. And that's why the tackling comes so important for this team, and Warray especially.
The Rams have had success against Seattle with what you're describing. I loved your point about the backs. Our excellent researcher Luke mentioned to me he thought Seattle should consider, or pardon me, New England should consider putting both of their backs on the field a decent amount, which of course harkens back to the last Super Bowl when these teams played. And you remember New England lived in pony personnel with Sony Michel and Blunt. But for Seattle, often they'll mug up their linebackers and then they pop out. So there are opportunities that creates spatially, because if you have one of those running backs as a pass catching option, usually there is grass. Stevenson is also a very good pass protector, so he can stay in and handle a blitzer if it comes to that.
And I would say, like, from the pass game perspective, we talked about this, the pass game that had the most success was the Rams, right? Matthew is probably one of the best throwers of in between the middle of the field, but also I'm throwing here and looking there. So, like, moving guys. So Drake Maye's going to have a great game with Cummins. Like, Witherspoon's, 6'1"?
Yeah. No, Witherspoon's 5'11".
So, okay, Eamon Worry's
the roster says 6'1".
He plays like he's 6'1".
The other two are 6'3" and 6'4".
So, like, just their length of getting the ball over those defenders, but trying to move them in between, that's going to be the biggest challenge.
But your point about post-snap, so many of the shots Matthew hit where they would present to two high structure and then rotate to one, he would identify that, find the one-on-one. Can Drake Maye do the same when Seattle does that?
And that's what's important, too. When we talked about the complementary pieces the New England Patriots have in their skill room, they don't have Puka Nacua. They don't have a route runner like Devontae Adams. And that was how we saw the Rams attack them. Someone is going to have to be strong in between the numbers. And that's why I think Hunter Henry can be a bigger part of this game, along with Stephon Diggs. And Stephon Diggs has to win early with quickness against this defense.
That Hunter Henry connection with Drake Maye is very strong. They're best friends on the team. They know each other really well. They feel really comfortable with each other. Huge. By the way, the ESPN roster says Dan's 6'9", RC is like 6'3", Mina's 6 foot, and you're 6'8", and I'm 6'2".
I will say this, though. Mina and Laura
we're kind of tall.
Much taller
than
they seem on
Can you clip
TV.
that off?
Clip that off
and I'm more
send
athletic
it to
than
Dan.
I've seen, too.
And Dan is just as athletic as he looked when he ran out of the back of the end zone.
Boom! On that note, we're going to break. NFL Live just getting started here on this Thursday. Sorry, Dan. We're not that sorry, though. The trenches heating up.